So.
No, but it will pop up a little thing and then I can't see anything. See that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Loretta.
That's
Just
that's
just say
okay.
got it.
Just
There you go.
click on-
I had to get a librarian. I can't always
Okay.
remember all their names.
All right. So, and we'd just like everybody to kind of be really careful of noise in the background. And if you're not sure if you got your dog barking or your TV playing or your husband talking to you, just maybe you can mute it, and just as a courtesy. So just watch the meeting there. So I'm gonna turn the time over to Bonnie, and I'm gonna actually spotlight her. And so you're gonna see her only for a little bit, depending on what mode you've got in there. But I'm gonna put those in there and go from there. We got 29 on, so. Go ahead, Bonnie.
All right, I am going to go ahead and start my screen right now, so I can get that going. Okay. All right. We're going to be talking about junk in your trunk today. So I had to send my husband on a search for this picture several years ago when I put this together. I'd seen it flash by on Facebook and I hadn't done anything about saving it, but he found it for me. But I want you to know we're not going to talk about people with big butts today. And we're not going to talk about losing weight. We're going to talk about habits, and the junk in your trunk are the things that you want to get rid of in your life. So if you've got that piece of paper and pencil handy, I will give you some things to write down later. Right now, I want you to look at this. I'm going to give you 15 seconds to look at the next screen, and then we are going to talk about it. All right, everybody ready?
Yep.
I want you to count the number of F's in this statement. All right, how many did you come up with?
3,
6.
4. I came up
3,
with 5.
6, 4, 5.
5.
3, 6, 4, 5. Okay. Well, who said
5.
6?
I did.
Who's me? Say your name.
4. I'm sorry, it's 6. Yeah, it is 6.
I said 6, Chris.
Chris? Okay.
Linda
So
has-
why is it that we
Oh,
had
there it is,
so
6.
why is it that we had different numbers? Why do you think?
Some people don't even see the O's.
That's exactly right.
I thought you told us to count the F's.
Yep, the F.
Oh,
Yep. The number of
That's in
F's,
Frank.
as in Frank, yes. And there are 6 of them.
mhm.
I don't
So-
see 6.
There's one here. Oh, goodness, sorry. There's one here. There's one here. There's one here, 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 and here. So there are 6. Now, sometimes we come up with different numbers because of the way our brain works. Because like somebody said, some people don't even see the F in the of, the word of. Some of us are speed readers and we don't need to see those words because they're already ingrained in our brain. Some of us are deliberate readers and we look at all the words that we read. So sometimes about myself, I miss the small stuff. And I think that tends to be a case with a lot of us. But it's the small stuff that make up habits. Habits are powerful. Before we go on to that point, I want you to know that sometimes there's no next time, there's no timeouts, there's no second chances. Sometimes it's now or never. But in our lives, and what we're going to talk about today, there are second chances. Habits are powerful. They're maybe more powerful than you think. Habits become more deep than the color of our hair because it changes, right? I had black hair when I was born. I had blonde hair, white blonde hair when I was little, dishwater blonde hair as a teenager and a young mom, and now I have silver hair. Sometimes it's a blessing and sometimes it's a curse. A blessing is that habits enact gradual change in our life and they don't demand our full attention. But it's a curse is because sometimes in a habit that we don't consider good for us, it's hard to shake, sometimes nearly impossible to shake. But if you become the master of your habits, you'll become the master of your whole life. Now, I'm going to ask each one of you, and you don't have to if you would like to, if you don't want to, but, and I don't necessarily want these to be something in your own life that you consider a bad habit or a habit that you'd like to change, but just things in general that are habits that could be changed for the better. So what are some of them?
Eating habits.
Eating habits, okay. What else?
Listening habits.
Listening habits, very good.
Hanging on to stuff I don't need.
Oh, yeah, okay, I'm there.
Exercise habits.
Okay, exercise habits. Anything else?
Sleeping.
Sleeping. Can be either way, sleeping too much or not sleeping enough, right? Anything else?
Judgment habits.
Okay, good one, Anne. Any other thoughts?
Almost everything I do is a habit, I think.
Okay. All right, you're right. And do you consider any of them bad habits?
Yes.
Okay. So what is it? Why do we consider some habits bad and some habits not so bad?
Some
What
are
is-
good for you, some are bad for you.
Okay. So that is the exact thing, that there are things that differentiate what we consider to be a good habit and a bad habit. And I think sometimes it's our mindset and it's our values. Any other thoughts on that?
Oh, I'm really maybe more glad that Leslie's going to be in that position. She's there. Liam isn't there. I mean, not Liam, different person.
I think sometimes when things are either good or bad is also how our relationship is with either the object or the person.
Okay.
Yeah, because like some of my habits probably drive my husband up the walls and vice versa.
I know a lot of my habits drive my husband up the wall.
But hey, that's the fun in it, you know.
On my end it is, but not on his.
Well, he gets a few back to me too, so.
There you go. So basically, I think everything we do can become either a good habit, or you can look at it as some of it as a bad habit, or a habit that needs to be changed or built on. Some habits can be built into a good habit. Some habits that we consider to be bad can be built into a good habit. But as with anything, we need to take small steps, one step at a time, not everything at once. You know, when you try to massively overhaul your life with change, it's almost never successful. Even if there's a lot of things about your life that you'd like to be different, don't attempt to change them all at once. Building a new habit can be hard, but breaking an old habit can be even harder. And I know this from experience, and I was able to control my eating habits for quite some time. I lost weight and felt healthy. I was looking a lot better. I could move a lot better. And then I let that habit creep back to its original form, which is not good for my life, not good for my health. Most experts recommend leaving at least 30 days to accomplish either thing, either breaking an old habit or building a new one. You need to keep your expectations managed and you'll be more successful. That's not to say that you can't grow at some point in the future, but starting or stopping a habit on a dime is not a good idea. It's very difficult. And then that being said, I can remember the day my mother quit smoking. We lived on a ranch in Nevada, and we had been into Ely, Nevada to do our monthly shopping. And my mother and my father were both pretty heavy smokers. And I can remember on the way home, my sister was sitting in the front seat with my mom, and my mom asked her to open a carton of cigarettes and hand her a pack. So I remember mom taking a cigarette out of that package, and she looked over at my sister sitting to the side of her, and she looked up in the rearview mirror and caught sight of me, looked at each one of us again, and rolled the window down and threw it all out, that brand new carton of cigarettes out the window. And she never touched a cigarette after that. Now, you know, at that time, I thought that was, you know, just, I remember going home and telling my dad, he wanted her to go home and or to go back on the road and see if he could find, if she could find him, because he would smoke them. Although I know he wouldn't. He always thought her cigarettes were stinky. But now that I look at it from an adult perspective and someone who has had to control habits of my own, that had to have been an extremely difficult thing for her to do. I don't remember. I was young enough that I really don't remember if she had any changes in the way she treated us or anything. I think I would have been pretty grumpy if I'd have been addicted to something like that and just quit cold turkey. But I'm really proud of what she did. Now, say for example, you want to develop a habit of daily exercise. Now, you won't measure your success against world-class athletes. Instead, begin with something not unlike what you do on a regular basis. So carve out 30 minutes out of your day for a walk. You already know how to walk. You don't have to learn anything new. You don't need any equipment. And you can begin right now. You can begin today. So when you sense yourself longing for a bit more challenge, you can increase your time to 45 minutes or increase your pace, walk a little bit faster. All right, I'm going to change the screen. I want you to read these 3 statements, and I want you to think about what you think or see when you hear those phrases. And I know you see them a lot on advertisements. So what do you think when you see those words or hear them? Big impact, significant results, and maximum volume. What do you think?
Too much.
Pardon?
It's too much. I can't do that.
It's too much. You're right.
Overwhelming.
Overwhelming. Yep.
Likely to be a lie.
Yeah, very much. So, you know, these ring out at us in commercials all the time. We need to realize that they are just advertising ploys. we need, but sometimes I think we tend to interpret them into our own lives. I want a big impact. I want to lose 50 pounds in a week. I want to lose, you know, we know that is absolutely not, you're not gonna, that's not gonna happen unless you chop off both your arms and the legs or something, I don't know. But sometimes we still translate those into the same attitudes that we have in our life. We want to set lofty goals. We want to achieve great things. We want to do it all or nothing. And I'm sure some of you have felt that same way. But now think about a mustard seed. How many of you have seen a mustard seed? How tiny it is, and yet that mustard seed can become something really great. Now, who's going to help you make that change?
Yourself.
Yourself. It's going to be all up to you. However, you are going to have people that can help you along the way. So maybe we need to change the things that we think about, the change you have in mind, change it down to a smaller, more manageable size. I want you to think about what you want, talk to your trusted friends, decide on the minimum you'd like to accomplish in a particular area of your life over the next 21 to 30 days. And then I want you to divide that by half. You heard me, I want you to aim lower. And the reason why I want you to take it down a notch to make the goal less lofty is because you may feel uncomfortable to feel this way, but here's the reality. A small goal that actually happens and can grow is better than the grandest one that remains a fantasy. So think about that. A small, manageable goal is better than the grandest goal that remains a fantasy. And we're not going to throw out your big dreams, so don't get panicky. In fact, the process is going to make them more likely to become a reality. We'll get to that later, but right now I want you to think of one small goal. That's what we're starting with, just 21 to 30 days, because research has shown that's how long it takes to make the new habit. Don't set unrealistic expectations or idealistic ambitions, and don't let them hold you back. So I want you to start today, right now, and think of one small goal that you would like to accomplish in the next 30 days. This is going to be your mustard seed goal. So on your piece of paper, write down number 1, write down one sentence or simply a few words that says my mustard seed goal is, and make it very specific. And then write down how you will feel or how you envision yourself when you accomplish that goal. And then you need to be consistent with your mustard seed goal. The secret, the hardest part isn't finishing the goals, ladies and gentlemen. By that time, you have got momentum, you've got support, you've got experience and all kinds of other tools. The greatest difficulty is always just simply taking the next step. But you need to remember that you don't have to accomplish everything today. You just need to do one thing, and that's get started. At the heart of this is not a big, lofty idea. Instead, what seems to be most clear is that we're to be consistent in the small, immediate, everyday things before us. We need to do what's simple and straightforward, but we need to do it with consistency and excellence. Over time, that adds up to much more than our actions each day might convey to those observing. Thinking about a dream is much more fun than actually doing it, right? There are moments that are glorious along the way, but often the everyday reality feels ordinary, plain, and even boring at times. They can make us stall out and in turn search for a different, more exciting goal. But simply doing the next thing is often the best choice we can make. When you think of that goal that you wrote down, what is the next thing? It might be making a phone call, writing a few words, or even just going for a walk. The simpler, smaller, and more ordinary, the better. But whatever it is, I want you to do it today. If possible, do it within the next 15 minutes after this class, but take action. All right. Look at these little people. We're going to have times during this goal reaching process that we're going to think, I don't want to do it. I can't do it. I want to do it. How do I do it? I'll try to do it. I can do it. I will do it. And yes, I did it. But it's steps. It's steps along the way. It isn't everything all at once. Now, I want you to eliminate self-defeating thoughts. Eliminate the one that says you can't do it, the one that says it's not worth it, the one that says I'm going to fail because you're not, and the one that says I felt better before. These thoughts are going to all arise with some of us at some point, just to get rid of them. Meet every self-defeating thought with a counterpunch. Punch it out of the way and don't listen to it again. Now, how you like this? A bad attitude is like a flat tire. You can't go anywhere until you change it. No matter how committed you are, no matter how hard you try, no matter how much progress you've made, there will be a day when you want to quit. Something will go wrong. Someone will say something critical. Some part of life will become entirely out of control. And you will decide that you were crazy to do this. It doesn't matter that much anyway. And most people don't even bother, so I shouldn't either. Of course, your old routine was more comfortable. Change is hard work, but we're tough people. Look how far we've come, right? You will fail. Everybody does, but don't wallow in that failure. I tried to find a picture and I didn't look real hard, but I'm going to. Picture of a pig wallowing in a mire. Don't wallow in the mire. You're better than that. Of course, it's costly, it's time consuming, it's energy consuming, but anything worthwhile is. So, what do you do when you want to quit? I want you to be gentle with yourself. If you want to quit, it probably means you're tired, discouraged, or overwhelmed. So instead of heaping on the guilt, acknowledge that you're human, and every once in a while, you're just going to get tripped up a bit. Next, I want you to ask someone for help. Tell someone about your struggle. Be as honest as possible, and you'll be surprised how many times they'll admit they feel like giving up on something also. We're a culture of pulling ourselves up by our own bootstraps. Tales of cowboys and desperados taming the Wild West on their own abound. Well, you know, it didn't happen that way. Life is meant to be shared. Yet we often see needing others as a sign of weakness or failure, especially when it comes to making progress in our lives. But there's a reason why we weren't put on this earth alone. We were put on this earth in families, in friendships, in groups such as FCE. Research has shown that one of the main reasons a goal never becomes a reality is because the person doesn't share it with others. So don't be afraid to share what you're wanting to do with someone else. And the reverse is also true. Those with help and accountability are far more likely to succeed. Sharing our goals with someone else makes us feel vulnerable. After all, we set out to accomplish something and run into bumps along the way. Then no one's there to see our struggles. But if we invite somebody along into our journey, we risk them seeing our weakness and knowing that we aren't perfect. Yet ironically, it's only through letting others see who we are, our triumphs as well as the mistakes along the way, that we truly feel loved. Even if you manage to accomplish a lot on your own, you may wind up feeling isolated. Your achievements may feel like a front that you have to maintain because nobody knows the messy backstory. And there is one. Don't let that get you down. Of course, there is a messy backstory to how you got there. Accomplishment without connection sets the stage for perfectionism. While we want to share our lives and goals with others, it's important to be discerning. Confiding in a critical or untrustworthy person can actually set you back. So who in your life consistently cheers you on, even when you're having a bad day? Who guards what you share carefully? Those are the people that you want in your life and want alongside you. Make sure that you are that kind of person for others also. If you let others into your journey and cheer them on as well, you'll not only go further, but you'll find much more joy along the way. All right, so good friends help you to find the important things when you've lost them. Your smile, your hope, and your courage. I love these little figures. They all look wonky like my friends and I. So now, who is the one person you can share your goal with today? I want you to write that down as number 3 on your sheet.
What were we supposed to write? I didn't even get 2.
Oh, well, we'll go back and I'll find 2 for you, Loretta. I think 2 was,
I'm sorry.
How would you feel? How you will feel or be when you accomplish
yeah.
the goal? Yeah. Is that number
Thank
2?
you, Lavonda. All right. So who is the one person you're going to share that with?
Oh, you want an answer?
Nope.
My daughter.
I want you to write that
daughter.
down. Okay, good. Thanks, Lavonda. So write that person down on your sheet as number 3. All right, show of hands here. How many of you say, when life gets normal, then I will, what? What are you going to do when life gets normal? And you're chuckling. So what are you going to do when life gets normal?
Oh, I've been waiting a long
doing-
time for normal.
I don't think it will.
I think you're right. I think it will. Here's some of the things that I thought about. When life gets normal, I'll lose weight. I'll clean the closets. I'll file that stack of paperwork. I'll finish that project and sort all those family pictures. Well, Scott got to sort all those family pictures done, so his life might be more normal than mine. So what are some of the things you're going to do when normal comes?
Sounds like exactly what you got listed there.
So we all have that same thing, huh?
I was going to say the same thing.
There you go. Somebody in the chat says actually exercise. Maybe, hopefully. That's Julie C. Okay. Well, guess what? Slam on your brakes because life is not going to get normal. Normal is not coming. So stop waiting for the perfect time to do all those things. Instead, I want you to start your do what you can plan. So that's what we're working on today, is your do what you can plan. So we need to resolve right now in this moment to start making small changes immediately rather than waiting for the perfect time, because the perfect time doesn't exist. There will always be a complication, a crisis, or what looks like a legitimate reason to wait. Start now, or you may never, ever start. So how many of you felt like this? Life has knocked you down a few times. It showed me things I never wanted to see. I experienced sadness and failures. But one thing for sure, I always get up. I want you to go at your own pace and not someone else's. So normal isn't coming. I missed having you do something. No, I did not. When we limit or change or even the enjoyment in our lives to the times when everything falls into place just as we want, it's a bit like refusing to drive unless every stoplight we comes to turns green. There will always be discomfort to push through, setbacks to endure, mistakes to overcome. Yet when we look back, we often see that those were the most meaningful parts of our journey. That resistance along the way shapes who we are in ways we don't expect, and we're stronger for it in the end. So life is never normal, timing is never perfect, and conditions are never, ever really right. So now back to your mustard seed goal, and I'd like you to take a few minutes and note on number 4, 3 steps that you're going to take to accomplish your goal. So these are the 3 steps, 1, 2, and 3 that you'll take to accomplish that goal. And remember, it's like climbing a ladder. You do things in order, just like going upstairs. I can't see most of them. Scott, can you see them all and see when heads are up?
Oh, I guess I was muted. I can't see them all. I'll go see what I can see.
Okay.
When you're showing the screen,
I know it's hard.
it's all right. We're fine.
Looks like a few are still writing.
Oh, Jeannie raised her hand, Bonnie.
Okay, Jeannie, do you have a question?
No,
Okay,
just finished.
all right. Thank you. All right, then. I want you to remember to go at your own pace and not someone else's. It isn't a competition with anyone but yourself. But today, you need to resolve to close the door to the past, open the door to the future. Take a deep breath, step on through, and start a new chapter in your life. When you're going at your own pace, you need to be present, you need to invest your full attention and be fully there. You need to have a recovery plan because setbacks are inevitable. So prepare a plan and know what your recovery looks like and celebrate every little success along the way. One of the biggest benefits of a habit is that once it's developed, you can reap the benefits without investing your full attention. Habits are actions you have become so familiar with that they no longer require thoughts, which frees up your brain to accomplish other things. Early on, don't try to do this. Don't try to multitask while you're cultivating a new habit. So in other words, start one habit at a time. Give that habit your full attention. And at the risk of sounding mystical, my advice to you is to be fully present. So that recovery plan, setbacks are inevitable. You're going to miss a workout day. You're going to forget. You're going to relapse. It's bound to happen. Prepare for it. What's your response going to be? So prepare a recovery plan ahead of time. So when failure does visit, you don't have to freak out about it. Move calmly into that plan that you've written. What if you miss a day? Do you double your workout tomorrow? No, just start again tomorrow. What if you relapse? Do you limit other indulgences? No, you just start again tomorrow. Deciding ahead of time what recovery looks like can also help you avoid failing too easily. Knowing the path you have to climb might just keep you from giving up all the progress you've already made. Celebrate every little success along the way. An athlete that receives a gold medal didn't earn it in his first race. It takes a lot of successes to get to the top. Sometimes all we can see is the gold medal. And we tend not to look at the other little things along the way. Every time we reach a milestone, we should have a little celebration. So go out to lunch with your friend. Take an afternoon to read a good book. Purchase a small item that reminds you of your success. And most importantly, record each little victory in your journal. And most importantly, remember that this acronym for habits, how all beautiful ideas take shape. There's always a way to make your habits become reality in your life. So does anybody have any questions or comments? You can take me off that full screen, Scott.
Can we get a copy of this lesson?
You will, Loretta, get a copy of it, and I will also, I'll also try to work up a handout that shows all of the steps that you need to take in one piece instead of just in the copy of what I said.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, can I
When
share
I add
something?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, this is Anne. Can I share something, a story?
Sure.
Okay, that I just finished a big project that took 3 months. I've always been saving all the birthday cards, all the letters from family and everything, and I just threw them up into boxes and sacks in my closet. And you do that for almost 60 years. And then I'm thinking, I'm not going to live forever. I need to do this now. So I took over the whole dining room, the chairs, the table, the buffets, the everything. And I just said, how am I going to do this? And I just worked step by step, but I couldn't work on it every day. And so I would just lay a big dish towel over the piles of stuff, and I would fold clothes or eat breakfast or do something. But I said, I'm going to do this. And everyone said, oh, just poo-pooed me. But the little engine that could, I just kept working on it, making piles of 2018 or 1985, 87, just going around the room, making all these piles. And you know what? I said, I've got to do this in 3 months before the end of March. And 20 minutes, I ended up 20 minutes early. on what, March 31st. And then I celebrated, you know, and I've got them all in file boxes, and they're going back on the closet. But I got to experience all the sweet love letters from my now husband, and on through the little pictures and drawings of children and grandchildren who are all now grown up. So it was really tearful at times, but I'm real proud of myself. I did it without anybody's help except lifting stuff now back up on the closet. But if you want to know what happened in a certain year, you just tell me and I pull up the file folder and untie it.
Good for
It's
you.
actually, yeah, yay.
So Julie says, congratulations on that accomplishment, Anne. I'm still ongoing my adventure like yours. And then she said, thanks.
I have a question.
Yes.
On the 1, 2, and 3, what was I going to do? Okay, I want to get, I have a bad habit of eating sweets, especially in the evening. Well, anytime, but especially evening. And so my number 1 was to clean out the candies and sweets that I have in the house. And then maybe have some fruits instead, because I won't eat that much fruits, but I will, you know, be better for me anyway. But I couldn't figure out what to put down for number 3. So I said, leave some good chocolate, because I have to have my chocolate every day. So I figured if I left a little good chocolate around, I'd have a piece of chocolate at least. No, is that cheating?
I don't think that's cheating. I think that sounds good. In fact, in my lesson on chocolate that I gave at the fall conference, the little bit of chocolate is good for you.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Any other thoughts? Go ahead, Carrie.
It was fantastic that this lesson was this month, because last month I completed what was called a consistency challenge with a group of ladies, where the group leader asked us to pick anything that we wanted to be a bit more consistent on, some type of habit that we wanted to be more consistent on completing. And it could be anything. And then what she wanted us to do was to track that consistency somehow on a daily basis for that particular habit. So, I mean, what everyone picked kind of ran the gamut. So the 3 things, and we didn't have to pick 3, but I picked 3 things for March that I wanted to be more consistent on. So I picked that I wanted to journal my blood pressure every single day, and not just write down what my numbers were, but actually journal how I was feeling and what I ate and all that kind of stuff. And then I also picked to donate or discard or file 1 thing every single day. And 1 thing ended up turning into multiple things a day, but it was just having that just 1 thing a day that gave me like a sort of release, like, oh, I accomplished it. I got it done. I threw this away, or I threw this old lotion away, or whatever it was. And then the 3rd thing that I gave myself was to do 10,000 steps a day, and be consistent on that. So the great thing, and the whole reason I'm sharing this, is that she had us track it on some type of consistency calendar. It didn't have to be, everybody didn't have to do the same thing, but she wanted us to have some way of tracking the consistency for the things that we picked. So I just want to show you a couple of the examples. It's going to be on my phone, but for me, this was one of the most helpful things, was to have some little way on a physical calendar of just coloring in the dot or clicking the dot. So here's, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but this is one example. This is the group leader. She did like a normal calendar, and then she just used a color dot system for her different habits that she was tracking. I don't know if you guys can see that.
A little bit.
Just the calendar. I used, there was a free app. So I use the free app where you can pick the things that the habits that you want to work on, and you can log them. And then it actually turns into this fabulous little dotted calendar once you complete the item.
Oh,
What's
It's
that
called-
app called?
It's called Day Stamp. It's DAY, one word, STAMP. It looks like this. The app. I don't know if you can see that. But it's this one right here. And it's free. It's very simple. Or you can just use a blank calendar. And for me, having that, it wasn't about accomplishing it every single day. So the challenge wasn't like, whoever does everything every day wins. It was more about how consistent are you being? And then when you look back on the days that you didn't accomplish things that you wanted to, the habits that you had picked, thinking about why you didn't do them. You know, what happened in my day? So I am a step parent of a very enthusiastic teenage boy. And sometimes journaling my blood pressure is probably not the best for me that day. But for the first couple of weeks, I missed it 3 times. That was in the first couple of weeks. I missed journaling my blood pressure, but then the rest of the month, it became more of a habit. It became easier to do. And I was able to go back and reflect on why didn't I want to journal my blood pressure that day? You know, what was causing me not to do it? But just like you said, I definitely celebrated my successes. So I was just so stinking proud to see all of those little dots colored in for the entire month. And then I figured out, so there's 31 days. I had 3 habits I want to do. So that was, I don't know, what is that? 93 or something habits that I wanted to accomplish. And then I only missed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I only missed 8. So that was great. So
Good
there
for
we
you.
go. Anyway, I just wanted to share that definitely helped me, just having some type of visual of whatever you're working on, and then just giving yourself the little gold star or the little colored dot or whatever it is, just to help you track your accomplishments or track towards your habit or whatever it is. But definitely that donating or discarding or filing one thing a day, life-changing. I'm continuing to do it this month because it's great, because I don't feel overwhelmed by it. But anyway, it was a great presentation. Thank you, Mom.
No, you're welcome, dear.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Yes, Catherine.
I have I'm a great believer in putting things on a calendar, and like your daughter was saying, the reward system is absolutely a given. And when I was younger and I was smoking, it was before I was married, and decided during that time, I wanted to quit, but I didn't know how to do it because we'd go out to with friends and stuff, and they were all smoking, and so I decided and you can't even get them anymore. Do you remember candy cigarettes?
Yes.
Well, I didn't know how to do this, but I had to do something. So anyway, I would carry this box of candy cigarettes in my purse. And when everybody else was doing that, I would just hold a candy cigarette. You wouldn't be surprised how many times guys would try to light that up. But it really worked. I mean, it did work. It helped me. They couldn't figure out why I was sucking on the other end of it, you know? And now I've got an exercise bike. Linda May and I used to walk Glendevere, a 2-mile track. Then I had hip surgery 3-4 years ago, and I can't keep up with the speed anymore. So a neighbor was kind enough when she left Oregon to let me get her exercise bike. Now I've got what you guys are saying is a system, trying to get a system to be able to lose weight by using my exercise bike. And so I thought, well, I can do this in the morning, you know, but it's like your daughter was saying, life happens and you can't do it, you know. So some days I get on it, some days I can't, some days I won't, but you definitely have to keep going, even though you have bad days.
Yep.
And I put little stars, sticker stars on my day when I do 2 miles, 3 miles, whatever. That's it.
Good.
And then I can see if I've, some days, some months I only had 2 on. Well, I'm getting better. I think I got 3 on. But anyway, I do agree. And the reward system is a must. I definitely feel it is a must for these to succeed in whatever you take on,
You're right, Catherine.
Yeah, it's
right.
not easy, I'll tell you.
No, it's not. But nothing good is ever easy, right?
Yeah, right,
So,
right.
Barbara Thomas, you had a comment?
No, I didn't really have a comment, but I was enjoying all of these suggestions from the people. Yes, I wrote down a lot of them because they were very good for the things that I had, my goals.
Good. Good. Thank you. Any other comments?
Oh, this,
And
Okay, Faye first and then Loretta.
okay, when you were talking about the calendar that's on your phone, I go to a bank and they have a free calendar. Well, I get 2 of them. One is my social calendar and the other is my exercise calendar. I can keep track of my Fitbit has how many steps, and then I can track when I'm doing elliptical at Planet Fitness. I can take a picture of that screen and come back and write down what my measurements were, the calories, the distance, and the time. So then I can track how many times did I go per month.
Good idea, Faye. Good idea. Thanks. Go
this,
ahead, Loretta.
this is just a comment. I can remember the candy cigarettes, but I never smoked.
Anyone else have some comments they'd like to share or tips that work for you or something that you gained from today?
I have one more comment, Bonnie.
Okay.
This is Zan. My only reward in doing that 3-month project was, because I started at Christmas, was by the end of March, I was cleared the table and I was able to take off the Christmas runner that was that was under everything.
Well, good for you, Anne. I don't like take Christmas down either. Well, I appreciate all of your comments, all of your thoughts. I hope that you gained something from today. To me, the beginning of the year is always a good time to reflect on things that we want to change in our lives. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad habit. Maybe it's just a habit that we want to build on or something that we want to start doing, that we want to make a habit in our life. So I appreciate all of you being here. So I do have a couple of comments from Carrie. Said, way to go, Catherine. The habit consistency app calendar tracking I found is enjoyable, called Day Stamp. And she put that on there and she said, way to go, Faye. She loves that idea. And Agnes in Virginia said, thank you. And Debbie said, it has been great. And I think I said, yeah, Julie said, actually exercise, maybe, hopefully. And Cynthia had to leave for an appointment, darn it, but we miss her leaving. Anyway, Scott said this lesson this lesson recording and all the other ones that we have done are on the Oregon FCE website. And then he puts that in there. Carrie said, fabulous lesson with a fabulous group of fabulous mother and friend. Thank you to our fabulous moderator, also known as D. Dad. That's a joke between Carrie and Scott. When he calls her and he doesn't reach her, he always says, this is Dad, D-A-D. All right, Scott, I'll turn the time back over to you and thank you all. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. A couple other things I put in the notes too. A little information. We had 32 participants today from 11 states. So that's really great. And I really, it makes me feel good that you guys are supporting all of this and we get together and visit a little bit. And I always like to leave it on after we're done so you can visit. I'll actually stop the recording so you can talk and not everybody in the world will hear about it. But anyway, I am really looking for somebody. I've got Carrie's going to do hers in May on the non-bread, and then I don't have anybody for June or past there. And I take care of everything. I take care of everything except the lesson. And I know that I'm looking at some wonderful presenters that are out there. And if you've taught a lesson in your study group, your unit, your state, your whatever it is, that anybody could do it. So if you're willing to do that, you do not have to have a PowerPoint. You can do it verbally. You can do it however you'd like, and you get to pick the subject. So please email me and let me know. Also email me anybody else you'd like me to put on the list that would be on there. Do I have any comments or questions from anybody?
I would just like to thank Bonnie. She did a wonderful job and I really enjoyed that.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Now
Thank you,
know
Bonnie. Thank you, Scott.
You're welcome.
So
Now
I
you know-
would kind of like to ask a question of you all while you're still on here. ACWW, which we all belong to by virtue of the fact that we belong to FCE, has made some changes, and I'm starting to receive flyers and whatnot from them, and I want to know how many of you would be interested in seeing a PowerPoint or a presentation on what the changes and how it affects all of us here in our little towns in the United States, if you'd like to know more about that.
I think that'd be an excellent idea, Bonnie,
Okay.
because a lot of them, yeah, a lot of them maybe don't understand all of what goes into the ACWW. We always have just a little corner, but we still should know how it affects all of us worldwide too.
All righty.
And you will do a great job.
Well,
Want to do
thanks.
that in June, Bonnie?
I can do that in June.
Hey, you're on. You guys heard the commitment. When recorded,
Witnesses.
Yeah, witnesses.
so let it be said, so let it be done. So I'm going to turn the recorder off, and you guys are welcome to stay and talk and whatever you'd like to. Artist night.